All right, let's get into lesson 4, food secrets. So, the first big secret, as I mentioned, is really understanding what we're eating on a larger scale. And understanding that, you know, fruits, vegetables, nuts have complex carbohydrates, fruit have minerals, vitamins, nutrients, um, and they have fiber and they have protein. So, they all have protein in small amounts. Nuts and vegetables have more protein. Um, and so the first part, I go kind of over that, a little more into that. And just all the ways that from having that simple switch of catering our diet more toward our microbes instead of our addictive brain chemicals that go off when we eat a cheeseburger and all this other stuff with all this sugar fat mix that's really just getting us such a dopamine high. And in the long run, it's kind of toxifying us. And potentially the reason for all these a lot of health problems. So the second secret is understanding alkaline versus acidic foods. It's very similar, but it's a little more complex because it gets into how our body works on a deeper scale and really shows not just for the feeding the microbes, but other reasons why these foods affect our body. So alkaline foods are foods that are above 7 on the pH scale, and acidic foods are foods that are below 7, or below neutral on the pH scale. And these foods are it's very important to understand this because these foods create our environment in our bodies. We can either have an acidic environment in our GI tract or an alkaline environment in our GI tract. And yes, our stomach is very acidic, but our blood has to remain at a certain pH. So, something called acidosis happens when we just eat a bunch of, this is a medical term too. Acidosis happens when we eat a bunch of acidic foods. Our bodies digest it, but it leaches out into our blood and lowers the pH of our blood. So what that does is actually a huge problem for our body because when the blood has a pH below 7.35, it's like in a total lockdown mode because any bacteria that comes in can spread rapidly. They can just grow, multiply because they're in the good environment. So even if there isn't any bad bacteria in there, your body will do anything it can to remain above a 7.35 alkalinity, and it will be able to tell immediately. And what it does to do this, that's the thing. It's so crazy how it's built in to do this. What it does is it starts to leach minerals out of our bones and our muscles and other organs because it's more important for the blood to be bacteria free than to for these long term effect of these kind of muscles and all this other bone stuff. However, they're taking all the minerals out. So this is an overtime process. This isn't something that oh, I had know someone with acidosis. You really do know a lot of people with acidosis, but they don't have the effects. By the time they go to the doctor, it's turned into some chronic disease. So understanding acidosis is really, really important because this is kind of the big reason we have such a big osteoporosis problem in countries that drink the most milk. And it's because milk is acidic and it makes our blood acidic. And when our blood gets acidic, it leaches minerals from our bones, making our bones very weak, causing osteoporosis potentially. And this is something that, they've seen this. More countries that drink more milk, weaker bones. But we were told that milk makes our bones strong. I know, very confusing. And it's because calcium is one of these alkaline minerals. It's not it is one that our body uses to alkaline itself. There's much better ones that we can use besides calcium, though, like silica, as I get into in the next secrets. I think. But so yeah, understanding that is really important. So when you understand, oh, this food's gonna be really acidic. This food's gonna, make my body start leaching minerals from itself. If I continue to eat this way, just continues to have fast food every day, my body's leaching all the minerals I've had from my whole life that have been stored up in my body. And So understanding what the foods are. And yes, so the other thing when you think of acidic stomach, oh, my stomach's acidic, you have a gas, intestinal, geez, what do they call it? Acid reflux, right? Acid reflux is from when your stomach is just super acidic. When your stomach acid itself is just like so acidic that it's just like can't even break anything down. It's just um, it's just working on overdrive. It's too acidic, and there's nothing that. That's why it feels like it's coming up because it's like there's just too much toxic stuff going on in there. What acidic food does, though, is it mixes with it and lets the stomach digest it easier because it takes a long time to break down acidic stuff because the body's like, whoa, we need to make sure everything's safe, no bacteria's getting in. We don't really care about what we whatever we want, right? But our body takes it like a war zone. It's like, okay, who's coming in next? All right, we got a hot dog, all hands on deck. This is going to take 4 hours. And it just slowly goes through. And that's why um, we develop these big guts because all this acidic food over time just builds up and builds up the fat and builds up the fat. But we still are hungry because we're not getting enough minerals. Um, so understanding that if you have a lot of acid reflux, it's not something that, oh, I have acid reflux. It's just because you're eating a bunch of acidic foods and your body can't break it down. So it's just like building up. Um, and a lot of healthy people are eating acidic foods. And as long as you have acidic foods as a daily part of your diet, you're going to have acid reflux. Because if your microbes aren't at a certain level to be able to build it back up, and you're just crushing acidic foods for years, they're slowly been dying, and this they're not gonna be able to help digest the food. So everything your stomach's getting, it's like there's like a few microbes. There's like not too many microbes there to be able to break it down, and if they're getting crushed continuously as well by daily acidic stuff, it's like no matter what you're really eating, you're toxifying yourself. So if you have something healthy and you pour synthetic, like really toxic like ketchup, a lot of these salad dressings we have today, fat-free ones, sugar-free ones, regular ones, they're all very acidic because they have all these chemicals and stuff in them. So use a lot of these dips and sauces we have today are very acidic. Fried foods, obviously, very acidic. Everything I mentioned above, besides fruits, vegetables, and nuts, is acidic. So, yeah, I admit it, right? I lived a acidic diet lifestyle and it was my whole first 21 years of life, and I just thought it was the way it was supposed to be, but it's really not. It's really a struggle to have that acidity. It just becomes a thing. It's a normal thing, and unfortunately, it gets to a point where it's so bad that people are watching their weight and just because they know that the acidity levels are so bad, so they'll subconsciously eat less food just because, oh yeah, if I eat that I'll just get super acidic, instead of thinking, oh, I can not be super acidic if I just don't eat these acidic foods. And I see a lot of people do this. They're just like, oh, it's time, my stomach's acidic now, I gotta take a pill or gotta take a nap or something. But it's really hurts people when they're working. After you have lunch every time, you're just like having acid reflux is really not good. Or first thing in the morning after a breakfast, just a terrible way to start the day. Yeah, this whole book is really about how to switching over to from an acidic diet to an alkaline diet, changing the whole internal environment of the body, giving it a place that the microbes love to be, love to live. They have all the food they want. They have they can do whatever they want. They can helping everything out in your body, which is what they want to do. They want to help your body. They want to help you out, right? So let's help them out by giving them the stuff they need. And it's not an easy process to switch from acidic to alkaline diet. But today, as in 2024, it has never been easier. It has never been easier. This is like when I started doing this in like 2019, 2018, there was no like plant-based burgers, there was no plant-based vegan cheese, there was no plant-based anything really in the supermarkets. It was just fruits, vegetables, nuts. And it was kind of great. I was getting the hang of it. But it was a little challenging. I really had to commit, had to learn how to cook eggplant, mushrooms, a bunch of other stuff. We made super smoothies. So I was really got into it on the raw side. But you don't have to jump into it on the raw side of just having only fruits, vegetables, and nuts. You can, have, there's a lot of things now in the supermarket that are less acidic. Just having vegan cheese is, or which usually is made of nuts. Um, it's just less acidic because it doesn't have that animal protein. Vegan milk, it's getting really popular. Just is less acidic, produces a less acidic environment over time. Obviously, it's not the best. Anything that's still processed like that isn't really great. You don't wanna be going for that, but it's a good way to transition it. So you can start to, instead of having meat, 3 times a day for a whole week, you can have it once a week and then have like a vegan substitute or a plant-based substitute. And even that, even just a slight change, um, just cutting it out a good amount consistently will make a difference. So yeah, that's a really important thing, and this book really makes it. I try to make it as easy as possible. All the information that's really helped me to be able to stick to this alkaline diet, and so this is just all the information that I've learned that's been like really helpful. And I'm only 26, so it's not like I'm like really following the diet super hardcore. But now, like, I do most of the time. I still implement a lot of super smoothies, pills every day, encapsulating capsules every day. And I didn't get into that really yet, but uh, it kind of goes along with the herbs part. So I'm gonna say that too. Yeah, real quick. So the capsules, encapsulating capsules, called encapsulating capsules because the one great way we can alkaline our body is by taking capsuled herbs on a daily basis or with our food. This helps our microbes be able to be like, oh wow, we got some backup. We got some herb that's producing a chemical that's just neutralizing any kind of bad bacteria that's just in the vicinity. Anything it touches, it's neutralized. So all these different herbs have different ways of benefiting our microbes and helping digestion, and they're considered food herbs too. So there's medical grade herbs and there's food herbs, and these are all food herbs, as I think I said. Or did I not mention herbs yet? Yeah, I didn't think I mentioned herbs yet. So I'm getting into that. One jumped ahead of myself. It's because I'm so excited about this part. This is like the coolest stuff ever to me. Oh, we went over 1. Okay, gonna make another video getting right into caloric intake.